activists in D.C., in the radical activist community in D.C., on the peaceniks and whatnot, to push Fenty to take it to the Supreme Court. And they pushed him, he did it, yay. So, I'll take credit for that, I don't know.
I bet the million moms love you.
Yeah, the million moms and I, we're like that. But that was great news. Another piece of great news that came out on Monday was we zumboed the crap out of OSHA, and they are running the other way, backpedaling big time. I had a great time. I've got to mention, I had a great time today. I spent all morning, I spent almost all day yesterday preparing the range out behind my house, and spent most of the morning today with some very important people that we were blasting all kinds of fruit. We killed fruits and vegetables left and right. We shot everything from 22 bullseye pistol up to a 44 Magnum Auto. And just had a ball, and go out and shoot, for crying out loud, and take somebody with you. It's really important to do. Parker, here's where we stand. If DC does indeed follow through as they say they're going to do, the implication from what DC said in their announcement was that they're going to take a page from the dissenting judge, the dissenting opinion on the panel. She said, well, it says security of a free state, and DC's not a state, so it doesn't apply to them.
Yay!
That was an extremely unique perspective. I had never ever heard anyone twist the Second Amendment in that way or apply the word state in that way. So that was unique. But now to see DC following that and trying to chase that does something very, very important. Because as it was, the decision said it is an individual right. By appealing it on the grounds that we're not a state, it forces the Supreme Court, it forces them to answer not only is it an individual right, but is it an incorporated right under the 14th Amendment? Does it apply to citizens of every state, citizens of the United States of America, not just a restriction on the federal government?
Yes.
And so I am just thrilled, tickled pink that DC is taking that line, because it forces the two main issues that we need clarification from the Supreme Court on. And with current legal thought on this matter, it's almost impossible for them not to go our way on both of those questions. They're going to try and do it as narrowly as possible, but they can't help but address those two questions, and that's going to be great. The other thing that probably somebody's about to ask is, well, is the Supreme Court going to hear it? And if they do hear it, are we going to get shot down? There are members of the Supreme Court who are as concerned about the Second Amendment as we are. It only takes 3 justices to say, yes, we're going to hear it. But there is a whole lot of they call it collegial, the palsy stuff within the court. And literally, if the justices who believe in the Second Amendment don't see the votes, they are going to oppose bringing a Second Amendment case to this court, and they're going to win that opposition. Because it's pretty much, well, this is your pet project, you don't want to hear it, okay, we won't hear it. And that's the way the court pretty much works. Plus, the antis are terrified. They are absolutely terrified, because they understand they're going to have to look at this, and every honest law professor who has ever seriously looked at the Second Amendment has concluded the same thing. And you know, these guys, while they're willing to stretch out of intellectual integrity to a degree, that's a lot of bendiness there, and I don't think they can do it.
But if they don't hear it, we win anyway.
But if they don't hear it, we win, and we win better than we do if DC had not appealed it. Because if DC had not appealed it, it just would have happened and it would be out there as a decision. By the Supreme Court saying, no, we're not going to even look at overturning it, it gives it a little bit more power. Yes, sir?
I saw in the newspaper announcement that DC said that they were going to ask for yet another extension to prepare their brief to the Supreme Court. I seem to remember that their initial extension they got on a thread with the judge saying, by asking for this extension, you better take it to the court on the whole in contempt. Is there something?
I honestly, I don't know. Okay.
Are they putting themselves in some kind of danger of the judge saying, I already gave you one extension, you don't get it?
I don't think that was, I think that was in the DC circuit that happened.
Right.
This is going to the Supremes. Their first deadline was August 7th. They've asked for a 30-day extension off of August 7th. It's possible that it'll be rejected.
But it's because the judge has stated that.
There is no judge at this point.
No, the DC
No,
circuit.
for extending the upholding the law, for extending them being able to enforce the law.
To delay. That's possible. It could be that they would be forced to repeal their law for that 30-day extension period because, but it's unlikely. It's if the Supreme Court says, yeah, you can have another 30 days to file your brief for certiorari, then it's probably gonna it would probably go. But I don't think that's going to be a real issue. If timeline follows at this point, what we would have is to the court by the end of this year, heard early next year, and possible decision by this time next year. So that's the timeline that we're on right now. So it could go.
What happens in the interim? In other words, is it just suspended until?
Yeah.
the
It's
Supreme
under
Court
injunction.
Yeah, it's under injunction that they won't. Plus, actually, DC is kind of trying to stay away from enforcement on that, but you still can't get a permit.
Well,
Yes, sir.
they're not going to, that isn't part of the decision. Part of the decision is to have a handgun in your home. It's not that you can have a permit to carry it on the street.
No, it's that you can get a permit to purchase a handgun.
Right. And have it in your home.
And have it available.
The two prongs, the Supremes can take up one, both, or none. So they can choose, they can pick and choose whatever they want to talk about.
Right, right. And but really, if they take it, I think they're going to take the whole thing. But it just depends. The Supreme Court, there's no betting. I mean, there's no betting. But it's really win-win, lose. And this is an important issue. If we lose, what we lose is that maybe someday the Supreme Court is going to declare that the Second Amendment really means what it means, gets moved back fairly dramatically. That argument, but the real truth is we've been operating under the assumption that there is no individual right and that the states can ignore it. That's been going on for over 70 years. And that's what we've been operating under, that assumption for 70 years. It's all at the ballot box. Everything, all of our future stays at the ballot box where it's always been.
Have there been a lot of anarchist briefs coming in?
Oh, yeah.
On the side or the anti-side?
There's all kinds of crap everywhere, but the most important thing is that there are people who know what they're doing preparing those follow-up lawsuits to chase Chicago, to chase New York, to chase San Francisco. Those follow-up lawsuits are being carefully prepared to make sure that it's somebody who knows what they're doing instead of some felon with a machine gun, you know, some rap star. So, so that's a good bit of business.
Last question. I'm just curious about that. I would think the mayors of all these cities you mentioned would have been begging Bentley to let the thing go.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of just let it go, you know. But
Okay, good job.
yay Fenty, yay Fenty. I just yeah, I don't know if I had any impact at all, but I'm really glad that he decided to do this. The people who think that we're going to get hurt by it, I don't see it happening. I really don't.